Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to the show. Glad to have you guys here. Boy, what a pain it is when you get a show all produced, you run it through the processing and everything to put it together, and you get your computer to process it, and when you're three-quarters processed, your computer freezes up. So you have to reboot, and then the show's not there anymore. The computer didn't save it. There's an autosave function, but it doesn't work if your computer freezes up before it gets all that data stored and filed away. So this is the second time around for me doing this show. And it doesn't happen very often. It happens once in a while, but it's very frustrating when it does happen. Anyway, guys, thank you for tuning in. Glad to have you guys here on this Thursday, the 4th of January, 2024. If you haven't already, hit that thumbs up button real quick. It's right down there. Look, right down there. Push the thumbs up button. Push it. Okay, let's get started with the show because I got a good show for you guys today. First thing we're going to talk about is Peter Schiff. And what he thinks is going on. He thinks it's going to be a horrible year for the dollar. And I happen to agree. I think it's going to be a horrible year for the exact reasons he thinks it's going to be a horrible year for the dollar. And why does he think it's going to be a horrible year for the dollar? Well, he thinks that this re-election cycle is coming up. He sees capitulation between the Fed and the re-election and whatever. It says the Fed is deeply influenced by political dynamics, according to Peter Schiff. With the 2024 presidential election right around the corner, he said it's already maneuvering to align with the political incumbent. The Fed's going to do it, quote unquote. He says, I think the Fed's going to be doing everything it can to try to re-elect Biden or whoever may run if Biden does not. The Fed chairman always wants to play ball, whichever administration is in power. And so what are they going to do? Well, it says the United States economic strength, it rides on inflation. That's an understatement. And the policies that the Fed's been doing, over the last while are deflationary policies. Things like quantitative tightening is deflationary. Things like raising interest rates is deflationary. The economy is stumbling now on the verge of going into a deep, dark depression. They're going to have to turn this thing around. It's going to take a lot. It says because the perceived strength of the United States economy is largely illusionary. It's a facade created by inflationary policies rather than genuine economic growth. Just let that sink in for a minute. So they're going to have to keep the game going. So let's take a look at this. Talking about inflation drivers. Spot container rates. Now, if you guys don't know what they are, have you ever seen them going down the highway? Now, a lot of the trucks, they don't have a standard trailer container on the back of the semi-trucks any longer. What they do is they just load on one of these big shipping boxes. And you've probably seen them going, I'll tell you, in some states they double them up. I seen one truck that had 3 of them on there. It had a trailer on the back carrying a third one. It was as long as a train, for crying out loud. Why'd they just buy a train when they get a truck that long? I don't think that's legal in a lot of places, so I think you're not going to see very many of those. But you see an awful lot of the ones going down there with the one container on the back. They're everywhere on the highway. People don't notice them, but they're everywhere on the highway now. Those containers the rates for those containers are surged by 173% due to the disruptions in the Red Sea caused by the Houthis. That price ain't going to come down, and that's going to be passed on to the consumer. In other words, you're going to pay for it. But what effect is that going to have on inflation? Well, it's going to raise inflation. Now, what we got going on here, looking to what happened there was a blast, multiple blasts in Iran. They had a terrible event happen where more than 100 people died in Iran. And nobody's claiming responsibility for this terrorist thing. This went on in Iran. Explosion happened at the tomb of General Qasem Soleimani. Explosions happened about 1 kilometer away from it. 170 injuries in the aftermath, and over 100 people dead. It was a single deadliest attack. It was one of the single most deadly attacks in all of Iranian history. And the Iranians now are vowing revenge. Now, it says Iran vows revenge for the deadliest attack since the Islamic Revolution. Explosion kills 100 near a ceremony commemorating a slain general. And so, the United States and Israel is saying, no, we didn't do it. They're not. And so who did do it? Somebody did it. Don't know. They're talking about it being a terrorist attack of some sort or another. Now, in the other war going on over in Ukraine, you remember the Leopard 2 tanks that they were going to send to Ukraine? I think it was like 300 of them or something. Remember? Well, they sent them over, and most of them, I guess, have been destroyed. A lot of them have been destroyed or whatever, and now there's a dwindling supply of them. But the ones that are left, they're not being repaired because Europe doesn't even have the spare parts to fix them, according to German politicians. So we got a picture here of 2 Ukrainian soldiers sitting on one of the few left of these Leopard tanks, and we're looking down the barrel. And what do we see? Well, we see the guy on the right there. He looks to be at least in his 60s. He almost looks to me like he might even be 70 years old. He's thin and frail. Got some sort of a helmet on with a microphone on it, and so does the other guy. And the other guy looks in his 50s. He doesn't look quite as thin and frail. That's the other guy. But what I would say about these guys, they look like 2 old guys, 2 old senior citizens. To be quite honest about it. That's what they look like to me. I mean, that's what I would look like if I was riding in that tank. But I'd be the younger guy. The guy next to him is even older. 2 senior citizens riding in the tank. This is what we're down to. It's time to end this. This war needs to be... In fact, both wars need to come to an end. War is just utter stupidity. And talk about a waste of the Earth's resources. War is the biggest waster of the Earth's resources that could ever be. But at any rate, here we are. We're down to this, And let's take a look. What was this article I had on here? Oh, yeah. I was stumbling through here, and it said Christie weighs in, right? And I seen the picture of this guy here. And I said, oh, I got to see this. I got to see him weigh in. And I was imagining in my mind seeing him getting up on a scale, and them giving the number for all of us to see how much he weighs. And I said, I got to see this. I got to see this. Christie weighs in. It's that's not what it was. And I was kind of disappointed. Seriously, I was kind of disappointed. Just kidding around a little bit, guys. Hold on, let me get rid of that. Just kidding around, but this is the thing. Is Christy weighs in. Anyway, moving on. So, we got all this nonsense going on in the world right now. But I shouldn't say it's nonsense. It's very serious, but very bad as well. You know. Anyway, let's move on and take a look at the silver price today. 22.98 today for silver. And that's what we're looking at today. And gold's went up a little bit too today. Is there any place on here that I can get gold? Precious metals. Used to be you could switch real quick on this site and see what you could change it from silver to. Why do they keep messing things up? You know, whenever they change things like that, they take something that's good and they'll always screw it up. I'm just going to tell you, probably the biggest screw up out there is what they've done to our automobiles. I got so many things I hate about these new automobiles. Probably one of my biggest pet peeves about the new automobiles is I hate it that the gas pedal is not connected with a cable. Now they got this sensors. The gas pedal, did you know? This is the truth. It's almost strange to believe. But your gas pedal is sitting there and it's not connected to anything that connects to the engine. Would you believe that? You know, it used to be connected to a cable. It used to go up to the engine and pull the throttle on the carburetor and feed more gas into your car. Now it's not connected to anything. What it's connected to, it's a sensor. And that sensor sends a signal through a computer to another computer that sends a signal into the throttle body, to the throttle. And there's nothing in between. It's just air. It's all signals going back and forth. You know, and I mean, that's not. There's other stuff in the cars that really. Can you imagine? You put something expensive in your trunk of your car, okay? Go in your house, maybe you're tired, you lay down on the couch to have a sleep. Meanwhile, they're stealing stuff out of your trunk because your trunk automatically popped open. Why? Because you had your keys in your pocket. You laid down on the couch and it accidentally pushed that button. Or maybe not. Maybe some guy just drove by the road out there and he had one of these little devices where he could push the button. They got that now. They got a little device out there, smaller than your hand. And it'll scan through all of the different frequencies of all of the different locks and stuff. All these new automatic locks they got now and everything. Call it electronic lock picking. Thieves are having a party. You know, in stores and stuff. You know, they got that thing for you to put your credit card in. I've seen it quite often on the internet. Somebody will come along and they'll have this little thing that slips on top of it. You can't tell, but it'll take and it'll get your credit card numbers and stuff. They're stealing them, flooding our internet. If you guys got an email, you know you're being flooded with all this mail that's trying to make itself look legitimate. Maybe you'll see a letter in there from your bank in your email. And it says, we're going to close your account. You know? And you think, oh, this is serious. I better and of course, they've got the thing there to contact the bank. What are they after? They're after your banking numbers and stuff. After your social security number. After stuff like that. This world is getting extremely hard to navigate. And it used to be easy. Everything used to be so easy peasy back when they used to keep everything on paper. Back before the days of computers. I hate it. I hate this stuff. Anyway, how did I get off talking about this? We're on silver right now, and it's at $22.98. Cryptocurrency. Oh, just to talk about that for one more second. You got to be careful in stuff like convenience stores and stuff if you're going to use your credit card, because they got this little thing that slides down on top of that credit card thing, and it can steal your numbers and stuff. It's some sort of a scanner or something. You can't even tell it's there. Everything looks hunky-dory, but they glue that thing on top of the regular device. And you can't even tell it's there. Just a heads up for you guys. Anyway, 44,000 for Bitcoin. Ethereum's at 22.78 and XRP is at 58.3 cents. And Bitcoin and all the cryptos right now are going up pretty good today. They're starting to go back up again a little bit. Now, taking a look at the Dow Jones Industrial Average, and it's up 173 points on the day at 37,603. Taking a look at crude oil is at 71.24 and it's down $1.46. This is an incredibly low price for crude considering what's going on in the Middle East. When we got the situation where a war could develop at any time in the Middle East right now. Could send crude oil prices soaring. Okay, taking a look at bonds and rates today. How did I get on the UK? No, here we are, the U.S. Treasuries. That's what we want. We're 10-year is up 8.2 basis points, and it's running at 3.98. And the U.S. 30-year is up 7.8 basis points, and it's at 4.13. So we're seeing yields starting to climb again on the long end of the yield curve. Now taking a look at the U.S. dollar index at 102.36, and it's dropping just a little bit today, but it's going down very slowly. Now, remember guys, push the thumbs up button, push the notification icon, and push the subscription button. It really helps my channel. And I appreciate you guys out there watching my show. It means a lot to me. Appreciate every one of my viewers. Thank you very much for your support. And we'll catch you in the next episode and have a great afternoon. Bye-bye.